Hey guys, welcome into Fantasy Football Academy 2020. As always, I'm the Dean, your host. And did you guys have as awesome a Thanksgiving Day game time as I did? If you're a Washington fan, you did 41 points for the Washington football team against Dallas. I couldn't ask for a better Thanksgiving. Fried a turkey, had some pecan pie from Keller's, which was phenomenal. Dustin, thank you so much for the pie. Keller's Bakery is awesome. Remember, sponsor the show. Subscribe, like, and share down bottom for me. If you stop by Keller's in Lafayette at 627 Lafayette Street off the Youngsville Highway, down the bottom, let me know. Make sure that you mention that the Dean sent you, get you 2 free cookies because that's the promo here with the Academy, provided by Keller's for my followers. So if you go by Keller's, make sure that you get yourself a couple of cookies. Make sure you get yourself pie. Pies are phenomenal. If you need a cake, they got cakes too. If I'm not mistaken, they do king cakes all year round. If you don't know what a king cake is, you need to get some king cake in your life. Okay, I'm telling you. But look, this weekend, it's Monday right now. It's early Monday morning. It's almost 6 a.m. Yes, I do the show a little early. I do that so you guys know that I give original content here, that I'm not listening to other shows, that I'm not just regurgitating what I'm hearing and taking other people's takes. These are my takes, my evaluations, my analyzing of the situations for you guys, okay? That's why I say you've got to have multiple outlets of information. Don't just rely on me. But to know this show gives original content, okay? Did we have a crazy weekend packed full of fantasy points to be had all over the place? We're going to go over a couple of them right now. Antonio Gibson, told you guys about Antonio. When I remember, I've listened to a couple of my shows from earlier in the season, and I told you guys if there was anybody in that backfield that I was taking, it was Antonio Gibson. 115 yards, 3 touchdowns on Thanksgiving. I loved this performance, obviously. Deshaun Watson putting up 41 fantasy points on our platform. Your platform might have been different, but regardless, had an outstanding performance. Will Fuller along with that. Unfortunately, the gentleman who had Will Fuller, who was Dalton in our league of record, didn't start him. I know. I told you guys on the show with my start sets to fire up Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks, both of them. Phenomenal showing. And then my new acquisition, Derrick Henry, 173 yards and 3 TDs. I couldn't ask for a better performance from him. And yes, Charles was cussing Hunter for making this trade because I was facing Charles this week in the Slutty Mutts. So needless to say, I won. So unfortunately, the missus didn't do so well, just for the simple fact, not for her team not doing well, but for the fact that she was facing Tyreek Hill. Man, this guy was just possessed. 203 yards in the first quarter with 3 touchdowns. Look, I don't know what got into him. I do care because I was facing him I wasn't facing him, but my wife was facing him in our league of record. And then the team that I really wanted to lose in my other league had him in that league. So, but look, 63 points by himself. If you had Tyreek Hill, you probably won your week. If you didn't win your week with having Tyreek Hill on your roster, I don't know what to tell you. Congratulations, you're probably the worst team in fantasy football. But that said, today's show, we're going to go over some acquisitions. Yes, it's early. Yes, we still got 2 games left. Remember, Tuesday, we've got Tuesday night football because of COVID. Also because of COVID, we've had the Cowboys-Ravens game pushed from Thursday to Monday night. So we've got that going on Monday night. Make sure that you make your lineup adjustments accordingly. Remember, when you're setting your lineup for week 13 has a different has a little different setup. We've got Tampa Bay on bye. We got Carolina on bye. Last week we didn't have any byes. So this week when you have the Ravens Cowboys game, that's going to get pushed back to Monday night. So those players need to be in your flex. Okay, so if you've got Dalton Schultz, if you've got Amari Cooper, if you've got Engram, any of those guys, you need to make sure that you're pushing that back. If you went out and picked up Gus Edwards, the Gus bus is the only train in town that's leaving the station because J.K. Dobbins and Engram have both tested positive for COVID, which means they were out. Also, Mark Andrews, along with Lamar Jackson. So RG3 is in. And you guys, if you listened to me on my Start Sit show last time we spoke, you remember I told you to sit Mark Andrews. So you already had that in place. Hopefully. I told you to start Eric Ebron, start Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki, outstanding performance. It was a performance you were looking for. Got in the end zone because he had Ryan Fitzpatrick. So we're going to talk about him in a minute. A lot's happened since the last time we spoke. For the last time we spoke, the Jags still had a GM, and the Lions still had a head coach and a GM. Since we spoke last, the Jags have fired Dave Caldwell for going 1-10 with the Jags, and the Lions fired Matt Nagy and Bob Quinn for going 4-7. How Adam Gase still has a job, I don't know. I've said it before, I'm convinced that the only reason that Adam Gase is still around is so that they can lock in that number one pick for the draft. So once that's done, his job is done. If they still employ Adam Gase after this season, Jets fans, I don't know what to tell you except your organization sucks. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you on that. I'm totally at a loss for words about how Adam Gase is still employed. So, with that said, let's get into waiver wire acquisitions week 13. Now, look, this is going to be a little different. We're going to show you some rest of season schedule for these guys. Some of you guys need that win for week 13. You need to get in the playoffs. This is not looking ahead. This is not chestnut checkers. This is a desperation must win for you. You've got to pull this out. Some of you are waiting to see whether or not you're even in the running with the games that are coming up tonight and Tuesday. Tonight, if I'm not mistaken, we have Philly and the Seahawks, and then we have, pardon me, and then we have, of course, the Steelers-Pittsburgh game on Tuesday night. If you're waiting for Steelers-Pittsburgh or if you're waiting for Philly-Seattle, good luck. I myself also am waiting to see what Tyler Lockett does to see how big a margin of victory I have. Also, the fact that I'm waiting on 3 players to play in my other league of record to make sure that I can lock down that win. My projection, I'm projected to win by a point, which when projections are that close, doesn't really make me comfortable. So anyway, so let's get into it. And now, guys, we already talked about Kellers. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about Zia of Lafayette. Zia helped provide for my my league of record, or my league of record. They helped provide for the draft party here. We also helped, and looks like my internet is lagging a little bit here today. Sorry about that, guys. But they helped provide for my Thanksgiving. Provided the oil for the turkey along with the seasoning. It was phenomenal. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. If you are in the Lafayette area, make sure you're stopping by Zia of Lafayette. They're on Doucette Road. You can call them at 406-0013 if you want to place an order. If you want to come in, we are still open. We still have 50% capacity in the dining room. Go by, see Tucker and Heath and Leonard and all the guys down there and tell them Dean says hi, and pick you up some corn grits. Corn grits are phenomenal, guys. I'm telling you. If I could walk around with some corn grits in my pocket in Lafayette, I wouldn't pay for anything. I could take it out and trade with corn grits. That's how good this stuff is. So go down and see them. They're off Johnson Street, off on Doucette Road, behind the Grand Theater, and in front of Red Laurel's Health Club. So we're going to look at players for the last 4 weeks. And remember, we do that so that we can see people who are actually doing something. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's narrow it down a little bit. Let's see who did something in week 12. And let's go quarterbacks first. Now, I see Mitch Trubisky coming with 242 and 3 TDs in a losing effort to Green Bay. And look, they didn't just lose this game, they lost this game. Okay, if you guys watch this game, it wasn't even close. And it wouldn't even look like Mitch Trubisky is somebody that you actually want to pick up. I'm going to give you 4 guys here, Mitch Trubisky being one of them. And I know that, hey, I said in my bold prediction show, which came true, by the way, that Mitch Trubisky would be on the bench by week 4. He got hurt. Nick Foles came in. Nick Foles did start for week 4. So I got the prediction correct. But I never said anything about him holding the job. So apparently Mitch Trubisky back in the saddle. Let's pull up his rest of season. And look, guys, at this point of the year, the pickings are thin, to say the least. Now, we see here, this is why I'm saying go ahead with Trubisky. He goes Detroit, Houston, Minnesota, and Jacksonville to wind up the year. So if you need a win, if you're in desperation mode and there's nobody else available in your league, Trubisky going up against Detroit for week 13 is a really good matchup. Maybe somebody already went out there and swiped up this next guy, Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's right. Fitzmagic is back into the year. Keep an eye on this one because I'm not really sure what is going on in Miami. Tua was listed as inactive in this one. So if Fitzmagic is the starting quarterback going up against the Bungles, now the Joe Burrow-less Bengals, Fitzmagic came out, put up a 23-point performance, 257 and 2 touchdowns, looked really good, looked like he hadn't missed a beat. So if that is the case, and let's scroll down here real quick. Actually, I'll just switch over to the last 4 weeks. Yeah, Tua was listed as inactive. Let's pull up and see what kind of news we can get from him. So Looks like Tua is still dealing with a thumb injury that he had. So that would be the reason for the inactive tag on him. So if that injury persists, if that's what they're going to use to get Fitzpatrick in here and make a run at the division, they get Cincinnati next. Cincinnati, awesome matchup for Ryan Fitzpatrick. If he is available in your league and you need that desperation win, lock him in. Fitzpatrick ceiling is way higher than anybody else on this list. He does have the capability of throwing for over 300 yards and multiple touchdowns. So, who's next up on the list? I know. You might say Phillip Rivers, but here's the thing. Phillip Rivers coming down here. He gets Houston, Vegas, and Houston again. So, yeah, if you want Houston, go ahead. If you want Phillip Rivers against Houston, you need that win. That's a really, really good matchup. But we saw what they did to Stafford on Thanksgiving. I'm not really sure if it was Stafford or if it was the defense. Now Stafford, he's got a little thumb issue. Now here's the thing: a lot of people are going to say, "Well, lay off Phil Rivers. He's been horrible, or excuse me, or he's been unpredictable for fantasy." Not really. Let's pull up and look at his game log real quick. We see 18, 27, 21-point performances, 300, 288, 295, 1 touchdown, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns. That's just the last 3 weeks, guys. Okay. And that's against teams like Tennessee, Green Bay, and then Tennessee again. Okay. So Phillip Rivers, the run game is not what they wanted to be. Pardon me, in Indianapolis. They are searching. They're bouncing around multiple backs. It's between Jonathan Taylor, Wilkins, and Nyheim Hines. Pick your poison on that one. I myself have picked Nyheim Hines. If I get in a pinch for a flex position, yeah, I'll throw him in there. I like this matchup against Houston and Vegas for a running back change. Who knows? Our deadline, we don't have a deadline in our league for trade, so Nyheim Hines might be up on the chopping block just because of the rest of my running back core. But Phillip Rivers, definitely an option for you for a desperation win. Okay, guys. Next guy I want to bring up, Baker Mayfield. I know you guys are probably palm plant in your face or whatever. Yes, I said a Cleveland Brown, but I want you to look at the rest of season schedule for him, okay? He gets Tennessee. Tennessee is definitely vulnerable. I don't like the Baltimore matchup, but look at weeks 15 and 16. This guy you can put on your bench. You can stash him, okay? These are for those out there who don't need that win right now. Maybe you're locked into the top spot. Maybe you don't like the matchup that your quarterback has for the semifinals, because a lot of times you have a bye week one of the fantasy playoffs. Sorry guys, I got a little phlegm. Like I said, early in the morning, just waking up. But I'm here for you guys. I'm here. So the Giants and the Jets, you couldn't ask for better matchups. I know the Browns are going to be fighting for playoffs. I mean, it's crazy. It's nuts. They could be in the running for a wild card. Who knows? They're in the division along with Baltimore and, of course, Pittsburgh, who's undefeated. So winning the division is out. But that game against Baltimore in Week 14 could be a very, very key playoff matchup for them. And the outcome they're going to be in it for the Giants and the Jets. The Jets could be the Browns from a couple years back where they didn't win a single game. Now I know that Baker really hasn't thrown for that much, but 22-point performance, nothing to sneeze at. These bad games right here that we see, those games, bad weather games. We finally saw a full complement, and we saw Jarvis Landry just losing his mind. And we're going to talk about him in a few minutes when we get to wide receivers. But Jarvis Landry had a really good performance along with Baker. Both of those touchdowns that he threw, I believe one of them went to Jarvis, and I can't remember the line that he had, but we're going to talk about that in just a second. But yeah, Baker Mayfield, if you need a stash, he is my stash for the playoffs, okay? Remember, like I said, the playoff run looking very thin in a lot of positions. Position is looking thinnest at, my opinion, running back. There is no thinner matchup than a running back. One real quick, if you want to go ahead and grab Matt Stafford with the coaching change, he's a very interesting proposition. Okay, we know that Matt Stafford can play. We're not really sure about the strength of his thumb. It's kind of been off ever since it came out that he did have that torn ligament in his thumb, so he's probably still dealing with that. But like I said, desperate times call for desperate measures. So let's go ahead and look. Running back. Pardon me. So we're going to go last 4 weeks. Actually, let's keep it on week 12. James White. Now, the reason I have White up here as the first one is because this is the guy who gets all the goal line work. His rushing yardage is not going to be there, but if you need help, he does get the goal line work. You see here, 18 rushes, 2 touchdowns. Yes, this is a Mike Evans type line where Mike Evans had like 2 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was crazy. It was nuts. But a touchdown is a touchdown. 14 points is 14 points, especially coming from your running back. If you can get a 14-point performance, just think if he can get a few extra yards, if he can get you up around, 50, 60 yards, definitely worth plugging in. We see here used in the passing game a little bit, 64 yards here, 65 yards back in week 6. So used primarily in the passing game, and then used especially with Rex Burkhead out. Once Damon Harris, if you weren't able to go out and scoop up Damon Harris, if you can go get him still, go get him. In our league of record, he's no longer available. But if you can go get Damon Harris, go get him. The next best bet is James White. James White is the guy who gets the goal line work because Rex Burkhead is out for the year with a bum knee. So there's your option for there. And we see, let's look real quick at his rest of season schedule. He gets the Chargers, the Rams, Miami, and Buffalo. So, like I said, if you need a 1 week plug-in against the Chargers, go for it. The rest of that schedule, it's a rough go against Aaron Donald and the Rams, and then against the way that Miami's been playing defense, I kind of be a little leery of it. Buffalo is not what it used to be. So if you want to hold on to him and stash him later on, this is a desperation play right here. I really wouldn't want to play him. There's a couple other guys on this list, Jamaal Williams being one of them. If you guys watched the game last night against Chicago, you saw him go for 13 points. Did get 73 yards, was highly involved in this game. Now, here's the thing. Why was he so involved? Because they were winning so bad. They were winning by so much. They get Philly next, then Detroit, then Carolina, and then Tennessee. So if you need a game to get in and a game to win to get you into the semifinals for the fantasy playoffs, they're probably going to be way ahead in Philly. They're going to be way ahead in Detroit. What does that mean? That means that they're going to want to save Aaron Jones. So if they save Aaron Jones, this guy right here, Jamaal Williams, is the guy to have because he's going to be that back that's going to be getting all the garbage time work in the fourth quarter when they're up by 2 touchdowns. So when they have that comfortable lead, they're going to plug in Jamaal Williams and let him run as opposed to risking Aaron Jones. Next guy up, number 3, IDO Smith. And I know you're thinking, well, hey, Brian Hill's going to be the guy. Look, Brian Hill's nice, but this is the guy who got the touchdown against Vegas. Either one of them, like I always preach here, trust your gut. If you've got a better gut feeling about Brian Hill, because you don't trust Todd Gurley's knees giving out, that's why he was inactive in this game. They get a rough go against New Orleans, but then they get the Chargers, they get Tampa Bay, who is also rough, KC, but they're going to have to throw the ball. This guy gets a lot of work in the passing game. Like I said, he got the touchdown, not Hill. But if Todd Gurley is going to be out, and this is the asterisk next to this IDO Smith thing. If Todd Gurley is out, then IDO Smith is going to be there for the passing game. Okay, Brian Hill might be the guy for the running game, but they're going to be so far behind against New Orleans. They're going to be so far behind against Tampa Bay. They're probably going to be way behind against KC. So if you want the passing back, it's looking like IDO Smith could be that guy. So let's go wide receiver. And we see Jarvis Landry here, 143 and a touchdown, 29-point performance. This is by far, hands down, one of his better performances of the year. And we talked about his rest of season schedule when we talked about Baker. We finally got a game with him. And we see, Tennessee, he's probably going to be able to throw on. And then you got the Giants and the Jets. Baltimore, you can even pass on a little bit. Their defense is starting to crack here down the stretch. So it's gonna be a rough game, but hang in there. Make it to week 15 and 16. This guy stash as well. If you need that help with Tennessee, go ahead. That help with Tennessee. They're going to be at Tennessee, and then the other 2 games they're going to be at the Giants and at the Jets. So that means that they're probably going to be able to avoid the December bad weather that's going to be coming. They do get Baltimore at home, which is probably going to be a snow game because Cleveland in December ain't pretty. So Jarvis, going to be a stash. Next guy up. Let's go last 4 weeks. Michael Pittman. This is the guy that you're looking to grab. Houston, Vegas, Houston. Then they get Pittsburgh. This is a guy, if you have bad matchups coming up and you need to, number 1, get into the playoffs, and then number 2, win those next couple of games to get you to the Super Bowl. Michael Pittman Jr., we see, had 101 101 rushes or 101 receiving yards, 66 receiving yards, give him 20 and 16 points respectively. Definitely has the capability to do this. And these games against Houston and Vegas, it's going to be a very favorable matchup. Okay. Next up, Corey Davis. Reason I'm throwing Corey Davis out here, number one, he's the number 2 over the last 4 weeks. Okay. Had 17 points week 11, 10 points this past week. They get this guy gadget plays to get the offense rolling. Okay. Any way that they can get the ball into his hands. We see him go for 113 against Baltimore, and then he went for 70 against Indianapolis just this past week. He gets Cleveland, then Jacksonville, then Detroit, and then Green Bay. Now, Green Bay might be a little iffy, but the other 3 matchups, Cleveland, Jacksonville, and Detroit, you can definitely throw on the Browns. We saw Joe Burrow light these guys up even in a losing effort. Jacksonville, not what it used to be. They're going through GM change right now. So they're on the schneid. They're only 1-10. Guys, this is not the Jacksonville defense that we remember from years back. This is a very vulnerable Jacksonville defense. Detroit on the schneid as well. So very favorable matchup. If you're looking for wide receiver help, if your guys are dinged up, they have a bad matchup, definitely guys to think about. Then we have tight end. I'm only going to give you 2. So Hayden Hurst, okay, is going to be my pick here. I know you guys are looking at this going, well, hey, Dalton Schultz is there. Look, let me pull this up for you real quick. If you want to go stash Dalton Schultz, fine, but he gets Baltimore and then San Fran and then a tough Philly D. The Philly D has been decent. So if you want to, go right ahead. But Hayden Hurst, if things keep going bad with Todd Gurley, we know that those passes that he usually absorbs have to go somewhere. There's no better place to go than Hayden Hurst. He gets New Orleans, which is going to be a little rough, but then he gets the Chargers, Tampa Bay, KC. They're probably going to be down. They're going to have to throw the ball in those games, even against New Orleans. And with Julio dinged up, dealing with that hamstring problem, there's going to be opportunity there as well. Next guy up, Evan Engram. If Evan Engram is still on your waiver wire, definitely put in a bid for him. Go down here, 129 yards against Cincinnati. He gets Seattle, Arizona, who just got beat by Cam Newton, and the Pats. How that happened, I have no idea. And then he gets Cleveland and Baltimore. A couple of tough matchups. They're probably going to be losing, so it means they're probably going to have to throw the ball. And they're not going to have Daniel Jones moving forward because he hurt his hamstring 3rd quarter of the game yesterday. So what better option than to deal with a backup quarterback throwing to your tight end? Okay. Couple of quick 3 defenses I'm going to give you real quick. The Panthers for the week 14 matchup versus Denver. KC for the same reason for week 13. They get Denver next. Hopefully they have their quarterbacks back, but it doesn't matter because all their quarterbacks that they have suck. And then the Raiders versus the Jets. So if you can go stash the Raiders get the Jets week 13. Those are going to be guys that I'm going to be telling you if you need to get into the playoffs. Remember, defenses, you can flip-flop them. You can mix and match them. It doesn't really matter at this point. Look for your matchups, okay? Those are the 3 better matchups that I see for defenses that are available. So, guys, I hope that helped. If you're looking for tonight's game, Tuesday night's game, to finish off your week 12, Good luck. Remember, moving forward, chess, not checkers. We're thinking about the playoffs. We're thinking about a couple of games ahead where our opponents might not be, okay? Keep that mindset. And remember to keep tuning in. Down the bottom, subscribe, like, and share for me. I will see you guys tomorrow for the review of the League of Record. And we're going to push our start sets. Our start sets, of course, are going to be on Wednesday. And we'll go over maybe a couple of guys that you might want to target moving forward. Okay, guys? So for Fantasy Football Academy 2020, I've been the Dean. You guys have been awesome. Remember to keep tuning in throughout the playoffs, and we'll help you guys to a championship. Hope we helped. You guys take it easy, and we'll see you next time on Fantasy Football Academy 2020.